All right, everybody. Welcome to the Honey Jam Pod. I am your host, Janice.
I'm Jessica.
And welcome to episode 2, Jess.
Hey, we did it.
So, a quick reminder, I did open an IG for our Honey Jam Pod. So it's at Honey Jam Pod. So please follow us on Instagram.
Janice, you have been very 부지런해 with making Instagrams,
Oh my gosh.
uploading posts, putting stories up, and promoting our Honey Jam podcast. I appreciate it.
If we're going to do it, we might as well go all out, baby.
You're so 부지런, 역시.
One thing, Jess, I realized we never talked about with our audience is how our Honey Jam name even came about.
It directly translates to 꿀,
Cool.
잼, 재밌다, right?
In Korean. Mm-hmm.
And we were inspired by the song Jam by Dynamic Duo.
Good jam. Heck jam.
Gold Jam, Honey Jam.
Here I am. That's
There
right.
we go.
Before we go into today's topic, how was your day, Jess? You seem a little down today.
I was honestly writing my report, my school report. I'm a speech language pathologist and I have to partake in a lot of IEP meetings. I have to write a lot of reports. Today I was writing a really long one. And I promised Janice that I would be ready by like around 9:30, 10, but it was taking a lot longer than I expected. So I texted her, kind of expecting her to be like, "Hey, Jess, like let's just reschedule. Let's do it another day." She's like, no, I'm good. Let's do it. 10:30? I could be there. That's fine, Jess. Take your time. I was like, okay, great.
Ain't no way I'm canceling on Honey Jam. There ain't no way.
I feel very blessed to have such a committed co-host.
Well, I'm glad you came on.
Wait.
I'd like to share.
Yes, how was your week?
Well, my week was just fine. Thank you for asking.
No, it wasn't. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Until yesterday, I made some kimchi, or I was planning to make some kimchi. And for those of you who are watching on my YouTube channel, which you should, because you get a full picture of this episode, you'll see here on my finger, it's there's a bandage, like a huge. It's my thumb is wrapped tightly. Oh, my 친할머니 is calling me right now.
Pick it up right now. You guys will witness how sweet and amazing
여보세요?
Janice's 할머니 is.
할머니 안녕하세요.
지훈아,
네.
야, 내가 아까 전에 치과 아니라고 전화 못 받았는데
아, 네네네.
네 손을 다쳤다며.
아, 손이요? 괜찮아요, 할머니.
아이고 조심해. 그 얼마나 그 체크할 거 조심해야 돼.
그니까요, 좀 무섭더라고요.
그래 몸 조심하고 잘 있어라.
네, 할머니 사랑합니다.
나도요. 예.
네. That's my 친할머니, everybody. Wow, the timing of that was impeccable. Jess is crying, everybody. What's new?
Oh my gosh, your harmony is just so precious, and I just feel the love between you guys, like how much love she has for you and how much love you have for her.
Jess, wipe the tears. I'm not in the mood to cry today, okay? I'm here for the laughs. Okay? So where was I? Yeah, so I want to make some kimchi. And you know, with kimchi, you chop some veggies, lots of veggies. And so, you know, I did this once before following Mangchi's recipe. It's very delicious. And so I was like, okay, the second time I could do my thing. And David was downstairs with me in the kitchen, and I was just using the mandolin. And I won't go into any details because, to be honest, I'm still a little traumatized. Like if I think about it, I kind of squirm. It's a little traumatizing. So anyways, I hurt myself, and then I just went, ah! And then David was like, no way, you're joking. Because he always like warned me about using the mandolin. And if you don't know what a mandolin is, it's like the thing that slices things for you like into thin like pieces, and it's very sharp. But I wasn't joking, and I hurt myself, and he like ran over, and like it wasn't actually that painful. I don't even remember it being painful, and it wasn't even like bleeding that much. I think it was just like the pure like sheer shock of just seeing like the my finger. It wasn't even bleeding that much. I was just like
the skin flap.
yeah, exactly. I was just shocked. And like the way my body reacted, it was like kind of crazy. And I like I've never experienced something like this. Like just, you know, you gave birth to Hui, so it's like that experience I'm sure was like crazy for you. But like so like what happened was I saw it, and then I think I just started kind of like panicking. So like my body started, I just started sweating like from head to toe, like instant sweat, like drenched in sweat.
Like cold sweat?
Yeah, like cold sweat, like 몸살, like 약간 몸살처럼. And I just started sweating, and then like I couldn't. It was like hard for me to breathe. I was like breathing like that. And
you were
then
like hyperventilating.
hyperventilating,
almost like a panic attack.
Yeah,
kinda,
yeah,
right?
it was like a panic.
Yeah.
And like my face went pale. David
Oh
said
my
my face and my
gosh.
lips went pale, and he's like, dude, sit down. So I sat down. I was like holding my finger really tight while he was getting like bandages and stuff. And then I was just sitting there, and we just had eaten lunch too. I felt like I had to barf. Like I felt like the food was coming up, and I just felt nauseous.
That's crazy,
Isn't
dude.
that crazy? And so like David was like really calm through everything, and he was like trying to calm me down. And like thank God he was there.
Yeah.
And so like we were like holding my finger, and I was like not looking at it. And after 20 minutes it kept bleeding. So we're like, I think that we should go to urgent care. So we went to urgent care. Like luckily there was no wait. And then it's funny because the doctor was like so nonchalant about it. So he said I need stitches. So then before the stitches, he was like, okay, we're gonna put in the numbing shot. So like just as a warning, it's gonna feel like a bee sting. And I've never been stung by a bee, but I just imagine it's gonna like sting a lot. So I like braced myself, and I didn't look at it.
Yeah.
As soon as he did it, it was like shooting pain.
Yeah.
And I was like squirming. I was like and he was like jabbing my finger like in 4 different places
to numb it.
yeah, to numb it. And then he's like, you know, as soon as it goes into your finger, you're not gonna feel a single thing. And so after the shots, it was like totally fine. He was just like manhandling it, and it was like I didn't feel any pain. 근데 갑자기 all of a sudden David is like, oh, where's your bathroom? And then he goes to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, he's gonna come back. So he comes back, and he's like putting his head on his, like, how do you describe this? Like on his, like he's holding his head like on his knee. And I was like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm okay. And I was like, what's wrong with him? All of a sudden, I thought he was like in a bad mood.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, so I was so confused because at this point, like, you know, I don't feel anything, so I'm like back into, I'm like.
You're like
in
okay
a good
again.
mood. Yeah, I'm okay again. But all of a sudden, he is like, I look at his back, and he's like drenched in sweat. And then I eventually find out he actually like kind of had like a panic situation too, because he's, and it's crazy because he's seen a lot of blood before. He's not afraid of blood. He's like, he's done CPR on his like coworker that was like that had a like a, what is it, like cardiac or something like that. Like he did CPR on it, and he's like been to all that, and he was like never traumatized. But he said he thinks it's the moment when the doctor did the numbing shot, and I was like squirming. I think like that's when he started like panicking a little bit. Like he got like some kind of reaction, and it's like kind of funny because that was the exact same reaction that I went through like a few hours like before. I like to say that he had that reaction because it's me, but I think it was because like the needles,
all the pent up. Oh, really?
I think the needles were like, because he was like jabbing the needle in my finger.
Ah, I see. So his weakness was the needles.
The needle.
I was gonna say like, oh, you know, like he was like all that pent up stress and worry and anxiety. He was chamaing it, and then he released it at that moment, you know. But
yeah, I don't know. Like he doesn't know why he reacted like that either. And then like the doctor,
did he throw up?
No, he didn't throw up, and like he didn't faint. But he was just like very like feeling very weak. And then the doctor and nurse were like, oh, like we could tell that you were not feeling like very good. And the nurse got him like water and like an ice pack, and he had to like kind of like cool down. Isn't that crazy?
It's really, I'm sure in the moment it was like a lot of emotions and very stressful, but it's kind of funny like looking back, like 왜 그러는 거야?
I was like, why is he in such a bad mood all of a sudden? Like, I'm the one getting the care here.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like touching too.
No, yeah, because he was like,
I like to think that it was because he was worried about me, but I don't know.
Of
It could have just been.
course,
It could have just been the
was.
needles.
No, it's like coupled with the fact that you were like hurt really badly,
Yeah, it was like crazy. I was just making kimchi and
Dude.
like I was just doing it so mindlessly too. That is, everyone be careful. Just buy. And then David bought me gloves for the mandolin to use. Like now you have to buy those. It's just, you never know. It's so scary.
That's crazy. It just happens like in an instant.
I just felt like this can't be happening right now to me.
Yeah.
Because it's literally everyone's nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
Like dealing with the mandolin like that
Yeah.
and hurting yourself. So anyways, it's totally fine now. Like I've never gotten stitches, so I feel a little cool with my little bandaged thumb.
You do not look cool with that huge thing on your thumb. But those are battle scars of a chubu.
Yeah,
Right there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what David said too. He's like, when you're in the kitchen like all the time like that, you're bound to have at least one accident. So I felt kind of like,
you're a chef.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
a
a
chef.
seasoned chef now.
Yeah, like you get oil burns, you get cuts and
Yeah.
scratches everywhere.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen if you cook a lot. So those are your battle scars.
I never thought I'd be bad with like blood or like, accidents like that. But I think I'm very sensitive to that. It's just crazy. I had like a physical reaction.
Well,
you've
never been like, thank God, but you've never been in like a huge accident like that where you had to get stitches or like you broke something, right? Or like went through surgery. Same for me. Like I've never had a situation like that. So I could imagine like after 30 years of just cruising by safely and like a huge injury like that, I would react the same way. I could imagine like why you would panic. So guys, beware of the Mandalorian.
Exactly, the Mandalorian.
Because on iPhone it keeps auto-correcting to Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Beware.
It's crazy. I looked at it. It kind of looks like Frankenstein under the bandages. It's pretty tight.
You keep like trying to like push that it's cool. I don't know. I guess. You know what? Your like story reminds me of too. Like when a lot of women give birth, a lot of the fathers who are there, they get really dizzy and they can't handle seeing like everything.
Yeah.
So oftentimes they're like laying down on the sofa and the nurses are like caring for them too.
Yeah.
I think that's a very common phenomenon, like caregivers by, the patient side and feeling, a bit stressed and hurt with them, along with them.
I thought of that situation actually in that moment when David was getting nauseous.
Yeah.
I was like when I've heard of those stories, I was like, how bad can it be?
Yeah.
But I fully understand and believe it now.
Like why that would happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stressful situation and you can't help but be so invested like emotionally and like your body reacts to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I will say though, Josh did not get nauseous or like
really?
Yeah.
And he saw it all.
He did. He saw it all and he was kind of like pep talking me like a coach. He was like, because it was very physical, like I had to breathe in and out, like push, and it's like you have to be like in a sense like kind of athletic because you're like pushing something out,
Yeah.
And it's like an exercise. So like Josh was like, come on Jess, you could do it, come on, breathe in, let's go, you could do it. And he was like, I like throw back to like KCM football days, right?
He's like your coach.
Yeah, he was like my coach, and he was like encouraging me. And it's funny because I mean like very very short, but he came in. So we thought that I would give birth like very much later than what they what we expected and what happened. But like so Josh went to get El Pollo Loco. And then he went, and we thought I would give birth like the next morning. It was like around like 5 p.m. or something like that. And he went to 6 p.m. and he went to get El Pollo Loco. And then he came back, or he was like in line to get it. And then I called him and I was like, Josh, my water broke. They said I'm like 7 centimeters dilated. And he's like, wait, what? Okay, I'll hurry back. And he comes back with 2 El Pollo Loco bags. And then I'm like, hey, Josh, they said I'm ready to push now. I'm 10 centimeters dilated. He's like, wait, what? And he like dropped the El Pollo Loco bags. And then he just came beside me and started like coaching me. So I feel like maybe
the breathing exercises.
Yeah, maybe it was like too fast for him to like be stressed. Like it was just like game time, like right away.
The adrenaline
rushing. I'm sure like afterwards he was like pretty exhausted, but it happened really fast for me. So maybe that's why.
Wow.
Yeah, short story. Sorry.
I mean, that story, giving birth is on another level, dude. That's a crazy procedure.
Yeah, I honestly forgot. And that's how people like, you know, try for a second again, because they just forget all the pain and suffering that they went through in the you know, in those days. But yeah, I mean,
but you know how like after giving birth you kind of form like another, like you kind of unlock another level of intimacy with your husband. Did you feel that way? Or like, you know how like the husband starts like, he sees the wife go through all that and like he kind of like respects her a little bit more or something like that?
Yeah. Josh was saying like he for me, I'm a maknae and I depend on Josh a lot, like for a lot of things, because he's like the firstborn and I'm the, you know,
the baby of the
family. So you know, he's always like nagging me about stuff, always advising me. And so I feel like Josh always like viewed me as like a baby kind of, you know? But after giving birth, he was saying like, dude, like women are so crazy. Like you guys are kind of scary. Like you guys are warriors.
Dude, that's true.
I was like,
pushing out a human being out
that's
of your
right.
hoo-ha.
Yeah. I was like, that's right, dude. Respect me.
Obviously, like pregnancy is a whole different game, but I feel like after this accident too, like weirdly, like going through the experience with David, I don't know, it felt like we bonded. We bonded. And I just felt so like thankful that he was there, so touched that he's like so cool, collected. I mean, up until the point where like we got to the urgent care, he's just like so constantly just like calm in a situation where like I'm panicking, you know?
Yeah.
And I told my dad this, and my dad, because my dad wasn't at home, and he was just once again like so like touched by that situation too, because he knows like all the women in our family, our like go-to reaction is just panic.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, you know, David is definitely the perfect fit for you because like, you know, he compliments you with like his cool, you know, collected personality.
And he ended up finishing your kimchi, right? Making that kimchi, which is like a double brownie point.
Exactly. Yeah. My dad saw like David like finishing the job of making the kimchi, and like he made 2 like huge batches of kimchi. And my dad kept saying all day like, you know, you guys are amazing. Like you guys are a perfect couple. David is such a good guy. And I'm like, we've been living in this house for like 4 years, and it's going to take one event for you to say that. And I'm like, and so, you know, what started off as a very scary event ended very well, you know, and we're very happy. We had a very good week so far.
Wow. Praise God.
All right. Well, that was a kind of wholesome start, wasn't it?
It was. Shout out to our husbands, our managers. We don't know who is our manager because they both want to be our managers. And I will say, Josh has been giving like pretty good feedback and constructive criticism. And David has been like promoting our stuff really 열심히. So shout out to our husbands.
Yeah, you know, this podcast, and I feel like this episode, as each episode goes, we're getting like more and more comfortable
Yeah.
with doing this.
I do want to say I didn't get a lot of feedback, guys.
That's why you didn't want to do this tonight. That's why you didn't get enough feedback today.
Opposite to David, I am on a roller coaster. I am not constant. My feelings for this podcast go up and down based on the encouragement and feedback I receive. And I just want to say, I mean, we've received a few. Shout out to Chu, our faithful listener. She gives us so much praise, so much encouragement. You know, we've had a few, but not as much as our pilot episode. So
yeah,
where are you guys? Are you guys listening? Can you guys message me, please, if you guys are listening and enjoying it? It really hypes me up. Thanks, guys.
Yes, please send your feedback to the Honey Jam Pod Instagram.
Yes, that would be awesome, guys.
Just real quickly though, Jess.
Quickly.
There's so much to talk about today. I just want to share a little, like a small goal of mine.
Okay.
And I've repeated this once. In one of our failed podcasts. I'm gonna say it again.
Okay.
My sister lives in the same building as Dumbfounded. I am a fan of his podcast, Fun with Dumb. I've seen him a few times in K-Town in the apartment, and I always like wanted to talk to him, but I never had something to talk about with him. My goal is to give him an elevator pitch. Literally an elevator pitch of our Honey Jam podcast, and then make him invite us as his guests.
Wow. Hey, drop that mic. With your uncool thumb.
These days, he's been like kind of inviting like random people. I just feel like he doesn't have many people to interview these days. So like once we have a few episodes under our belt, I'm just gonna go in there, see him, like, hey Johnny, that's his real name. Hey Johnny, I listened to your podcast. Great pod. But listen, hey, have you heard of the Honey Jam podcast? You should invite us. Check us out. Show my cool thumb. That's my goal, Jess. So we're gonna keep going. Even if the feedback doesn't come, we're gonna keep going. It's gonna be strong.
Okay. Yeah. Our ultimate goal is to be on Fun with Them. So that is for some reason that's not that motivating. I mean, respect to them. Respect to him, and you know, he's been doing amazing things.
Well, what's your goal, Jess? What do you think your goal? To gain as much feedback as possible?
Wait, wow. Why not?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be awesome. Like, just to have like a following.
So our next topic today, I kind of wanted to talk. We've been talking a little bit about our husbands. Jess's husband is Josh. My husband's David. And so why not throw it back a little bit?
Okay.
Because, you know, we've been through it all together. Our individual love stories. We've seen them unfold before our eyes.
Yes.
So I want to share a little bit of how we met our SOs.
I'll begin because just chronologically, that's, you know, I'm ahead of you guys, right?
I love that.
Well, I met Josh my freshman year in college, and he came up to me, and I thought he was a lot older than he actually was. So he was a sophomore, I was a freshman, and I thought straight up he was a senior because he looked really old to me. And he told me at the time he thought I was really cute, so he approached me.
Of course.
But then after he Facebook friended me, he realized I had a boyfriend at the time, and he's like, man. So he like backed away, and he was no 관심 after that. And we didn't really interact throughout my freshman year. Although Janice said that there was a time when we went to like In and Out together, and there was we were at a table with Andy Cho. Shout out Andy and Steph Cho.
Shout out.
Our good friends. Andy, Josh, me, and you were at a table at In and Out in Westwood. And I mean, I don't recall this, but Janice said like the chemistry was popping between me and Josh.
Let me just say there was an intensity, a sexual intensity.
I had a boyfriend at the time.
Oh, right. Sorry.
There was a bit of a tension.
There was tension, sexual tension. That's what I meant.
Are you sure?
No, there wasn't. But there was a chemistry for sure.
There was a bit of flirting back and forth.
Definitely. It was the point.
Some tiki-taka.
Yes, and I remember just kind of sitting there with Andy Cho and thinking, 뭐야 쟤네?
I honestly don't remember. Maybe it's because I just had a boyfriend. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was just talking with Josh. But to Janice, it seemed like there was a bit of a tiki-taka, which is kind of interesting. She noticed it from the start when there was nothing between us. And then come sophomore year, I broke up with my boyfriend, and dude, I don't even know what happened. Oh, after we went to like a university. Oh yes, go ahead.
Can I just pause you right there because there's so much to unpackage with your ex-boyfriend. Can we just share one story from your ex-boyfriend time too?
Are you sure? I don't think we should, dude.
Just that one.
My boyfriend at the time, he was at a different school, so we didn't go to the same college. So you can imagine, like, I guess, like, to his from his perspective, like, he didn't know what I was doing, and he was a bit how do I put this?
Psycho.
No, wait, what if he listens to it, Janice? What if he listens?
I mean, he was a little psycho, in my opinion. You're not saying that. I'm saying it.
He was a bit protective, I would say. And he like basically kind of like always kept tabs on where I was. And me being like a very young college student just out of high school, I thought that kind of behavior was like okay, which it isn't. It's very toxic, right? But just to relieve his worries, I would pretend that I would go to bed. So like my top half would be like in pajamas and I would FaceTime him and be like, okay, good night. And be like, okay, good night. And then I would end the call and be like, all right, guys, let's go get tacos. I'm like literally
it's party time.
I'm just literally getting tacos with like
That's
Janice
true.
And like other girlfriends, but which is like nothing to be like to hide. But like for some reason, I did that, and I would like get out of the blanket like with like my bottom half ready to party. I would like take off my sweater. I
remember seeing that, and I was just like shocked.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, why? Is this not normal?
I was like, this is a red flag, Jess. You need to get the hell out of that, whatever that is.
So I did, and it was also like to pursue and deepen my relationship with Christ as well. Because I felt like going into college, like I met a lot of people who love the Lord, and I wanted to deepen my relationship with God. And I felt like to do that, it was to be single, And
but then she had a whole line of people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Janice. It's not true.
Huge. I could count. There were how many were there? It was like 7 guys that had a huge crush on Jess. So her window of singlehood was quite short.
All right. I feel like our listeners are going to be annoyed at this.
And Josh came and swooped her away.
Yeah. So Josh, like I still remember it was like Christmas Eve. I was single at the time. He Facebook messaged me and he was like, hey, like, do you want to go see a movie? And like to this point, like I've never really talked to Josh,
Oh.
So to me, it was like, it was nothing related to the vibes of, hey, you thought
it was more of like friendly?
Yes, just like totally friendly. And because
platonic.
There was like platonic, and there was an OC crew. So, I thought he was just like kind of 챙겨ing me as like a 선배, as like an OC person, completely platonic. And I even replied asking like, who else is coming, because I just didn't assume that it was a date. And then what kind of made me 심쿵 was he's like, oh,
your heart flutter.
my
For our non-Korean
yes,
speaking
I'm so
audience.
sorry. You know what, guys? I'm really sorry. I speak a lot of Konglish, and I apologize for that. I'll try to translate as I go. But what made my heart flutter was he said, hey, Jess, like, actually, I think you're really cool, and I want to get to know you. I was thinking more that, you know, that it could be a date.
Now, how about that date? If you know that movie,
Hey,
comment
shout out
below. Comment on our IG
right now if you
right
know
now.
if you know what we're referring to.
Oh, miss. Now, how's about that date?
It's just summer love, baby.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
And I was like, whoa, like that's kind of forward. And to this point, like kind of like what Janice alluded, like there were talks that like, oh, like this guy is interested in me, but like he's never ever verbalized it to me, so I wouldn't know. That's why to this day I'm like, Janice, no, there weren't any guys, right?
I have receipts.
Because I haven't heard anything from them. So
True.
like I don't know if they actually did or if it was just rumors. But like Josh, on the other hand, it was like very forward, very direct, very intentional, and I appreciated that, you know? And we went, you know, he picked me up. We went to go watch Lincoln at the time. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln.
That was your first date movie?
It was so boring, and Josh said he looked over to me and I looked so bored he panicked. So what ended up happening was he's like, hey, Jess, like, do you want to go see Hobbit? And I was like, yeah. So we like went out and then we like movie hopped to see the Hobbit.
Oh.
And that was a lot better. And he said he looked over to me during Hobbit and I was like more engaged and like super into it. So he's like, oh yes, thank God. Like I saved the date, you know?
Wow. Lincoln, the most unromantic movie of all time. Never even heard of that movie.
Yeah, so I mean, after that, like, you know, for me, I'm like, that kind of piqued my interest in Josh.
Yeah, for sure.
Before I was like, who is this guy? Like, what? Like, who else is coming? You know? But then after he was so forward, so direct, and like, you know, he expressed his interest in me, I was like, 이 오빠 누구야? Who is this? You know? And then like after that, I couldn't stop thinking about Josh. But then he proceeded to do a little bit of 밀당 with me, push and pull. He'd be like, hey, you know, you just got out of a relationship. I don't want to jump too fast into it. Like, I want to make sure that you're like growing with God, and you know, like just know that like I'm interested in you, but it's like I don't want to like rush things, you know? And I'm like, okay, do you like me or not, bro?
I used to call him wishy-washy Joshy at the time.
Wishy-washy Joshy, yeah. And so I was like, okay. But at the same time, he'd be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, you want to swipe me for some food? I'm like, okay. You know? But after a while, like, I came back from missions, and I actually felt like, okay, maybe this is not the right time for me to get into a relationship again. So I expressed that to Josh, and I was really scared that he would take it badly, because all this time we were talking, and then like, you know, all of a sudden after coming back from missions, I'm like feeling the Holy Spirit, and I'm like, yo, like, I don't want to date you anymore. It kind of seems like that's kind of cold, you know? It kind of seems like I played with him, and it wasn't, that wasn't my intention, but I could see why someone would feel that way, you know? So I was really scared to share that with him, but he responded so graciously. He was like, hey, Jess, like, I totally understand. I just want to let you know, like, I still like you. I'm still interested in you, and I'll wait like however long until you feel ready. But just know that I still like you. 근데 그게 너무 멋있었어. So I was like, okay, never mind. I want to date you.
Immediately.
I mean, like the month after, I was like, I thought about it, and I think I'm ready to date. So dumb. But we dated ever since my
sophomore?
end of sophomore. Beginning of junior year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had a thing since sophomore year, and then like beginning of junior year, we started like officially dating. And then ever since then, you know, we fought, we made up, we grew as a couple, we got married, And now we have a child. He's my baby daddy. Which is crazy.
Dude, Josh has swag. Or he used to, at least. Just kidding, Josh. Shout out, Josh. We love you, Josh.
Yes. But during that time, Janice was third wheeling all the time.
All the time.
And Janice was our mediator. She would literally like pep talk us into saying sorry, and she would mediate our arguments and fights. She was very vital to our relationship.
I was there from the beginning, man. Like,
yeah, dude.
I watched them fight so much in college. It was crazy. I remember like you guys fought almost every day, like in our senior year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is not gonna work. But by the grace of God.
Yeah. And it's funny because like after we got married, like it's so funny. Like we don't even have the energy to fight. It's like once we fight, we're like, okay, can we stop now?
Yeah.
You know? So even like fighting, I feel like is from that youthful energy.
That's true.
Like you have that grit and like that energy in you to like argue back and stuff. Of course we like, you know, not to say that we don't fight, but it's a little different from that time when we were constantly butting heads and like not wanting to lose, you know?
And you know, Josh actually ended up being very vital in my relationship with David.
Yes.
Because I think this is kind of a natural segue into how I met David.
You gotta talk about the first time you saw David.
Okay. The first time I saw David, I definitely
like molasses.
The first time I laid eyes on that man, I knew I wanted him. So we were in college. We were in our senior year.
Yes.
Living with our friends. So Spake was like, she messaged our group chat, like our apartment group. She's like, hey guys, I'm bringing 2 friends over, like 2 guy friends. And Spake has a lot of friends. She had a lot of guy friends too. And so she was just like, just a warning, like they're going to be here. Just a heads up. So I was like, we're like, okay, sounds good. And then we come into the apartment and I see these 2 guys on our couch, just sprawled out onto our couch, just sitting there so comfortably as if it's their own home. And I came in, I was like, hey guys, you know, being like the extroverted person I was in college, and like excited to meet them. And they just kind of just like sat there and like, I'm like, okay, this is my house. You get up and say hello. But they didn't do that. They were just chilling, just like laying on the couch.
So
like,
you had a bad impression.
Just not a great first impression. They're just like, sup. And it turns out it was David and David's best friend, now best friend Jay. And
who you traveled with, which is crazy.
Who I lived with in Spain with David, of course. The 3 of us lived together in Spain for 5 weeks. Very good friend now. But I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go to my room. You guys can do whatever the heck you guys want. So I went to my room and I was like watching a drama by myself. Or Jess, were you there?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, Jess was there. We were just minding our own business in our room.
Wait,
and then,
can I stop you for a second? It's funny because during that time, you're like very upset. And I was like, why? They seem nice.
Oh, really?
Jess. Yeah. You were like, 왜 저래? Like, why are they so rude? They're just like sprawled out on the couch and like they didn't like get up to say hi. And I was like, Janice, can we just watch the drama, please? Like, I was so confused at why you were so angry. That's why what you're about to share was so funny to me. Okay,
yeah, we just continued. We were in a room. We were watching. I remember we were watching The Dropbox, like a very serious, sad, like documentary. And we were crying over it. Yeah, it was such a random memory. We were crying, and then we heard them leaving. So I was like, okay, we should say bye at least. You know, let me show you what polite is. You know. So we went out of the room, and I saw like they were going out the door. I saw David.
He was tying his shoe at first.
He's tying his shoe. He got up and I looked, I was like, oh, you're tall. But I said in Korean, I said, 어머, 키 크시네.
And we all cracked up. Spake, me, and Jay. I think even Jay laughed. We were all like, oh, lols.
I was just so like forward and honest.
It was such a like 아줌마 flirty comment. You know what? 어머, 키 크시네.
It was exactly like that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, he's pretty cute, you know? And
just based on his height.
like he didn't really like stand out until I saw his. But then turns out actually he had a broken leg, like broken foot, and he had a cast on, and so that's why he was just laying on the couch. Jay has no excuse. He was just laying there and being rude. Just kidding, Jay. Shout out Jay.
Shout out Jay.
But it's so funny because fast forward after way after we got married, we were in Korea and Jay lives in Korea right now. So we hung out with Jay and we went to sauna together. We came out and like I found the guys waiting for me in like the public waiting area. And those David and Jay were in the same position that I first met them, and they're just like sprawled out, like out in public, waiting for me to finish like washing up.
Full circle.
Yeah, I was like, wow, some things just never change. So that's how I met David, and like I was dating someone else at the time, so I was like, I just thought, oh, he's cute, and then moved on. I moved on. I didn't think much about him. Okay?
Yes.
I'm not a two-timer. So then, anyways, fast forward, I broke up with my previous relationship, and then I was like, all right, ladies, who are the single men out there? Like, introduce them to me. Let's go. And Spake was like, oh, David, he's single. And I was like, who's David again? I don't remember. She's like, the tall guy that came over. You thought he was cute. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Sign me up. Make it happen right now. And Spake's like, I don't know. He just, recently got out of a relationship. David has kind of like past hurt, like trauma from his past relationship. I don't think he's going to like that. So I was like, oh, okay. And Spake's like, yeah, so just wait a few months. I was like, I'm not waiting for nobody. So I went over to Josh, Josh is like good friends with David from church, they went to church together. And David used to cut Josh's hair like every couple of weeks. And I was like, Josh, I have an assignment for you and you're going to make it happen. And so every time Josh got his hair cut by David, like first Josh was like, hey, there's this girl, she's legit, like meet with her. Like, 한번 만나보라고. David saw my picture and said, no, thank you. And Josh said, dude, no, you have to try. You have to meet her.
She's so cool. She's a good girl.
She has a good personality. And David's like, no, I'm good. I'm good, man. But like Josh was a homie. So he like really harassed David every time like he got his haircut. And like it was to the point where David was like so annoyed. And he said, okay, if I meet her once, will you just shut up? Yeah. And Josh said, yes, I promise. And so because they made that, Josh made that promise, that's what made David go on a date with me.
Crazy, dude.
And so, yeah, we met and the rest is history.
You guys had a bit of a period where you had like a bit of a break. Like you dated like 2 or 3 times and then had a break. And then you guys kind of reconnected through like a basketball game.
Yep.
And then you guys started like really liking each other.
Yeah, and that basketball game is funny because so like there was a time when my dad used to get like free basketball game tickets, and I knew David was a huge fan of basketball, and so like after the first 2 dates, he's like, oh, I have a lot going on. I don't think I could juggle like school and like a relationship, so like I think it has to end here. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I was a little bitter about that, but we were still like following each other on Facebook and like Snapchat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of like kept like dangling the carrot in front of him. I wanted to like tease him a little bit. Yeah. And so like because I knew he loved basketball, I don't know a thing about basketball. Okay, not a lick about anything about basketball. But I purposely uploaded a video of me at a Clippers game and like I don't know which player it was, but like making an epic shot, and we're like, yeah, like yelling, and then I put out the bait, and then he caught it. He messaged me. He messaged me. He was like, hey, yeah, you like basketball? I was like,
diabolical.
No?
Diabolical.
What does that mean?
Like, what does diabolical mean? Like you're planning, you're mischievous. Like
yes. It was all calculated.
Yes. Diabolical. Characteristic of the devil. Or so evil as to be suggestive of the devil.
It definitely was.
Yeah. Very
So then that's what rekindled our relationship. And then he's like, you know what? Actually, school's not that hard right now. We can dive back in. And I was like, okay, if you say so.
All because of the basketball game.
All because of
And your
Josh.
bait.
So shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh. Shout out to David. I still remember the first date you guys went on, actually.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there. And what's crazy is, I guess that kind of like segues into like what we also wanted to talk about. Back in our CJ days, there was a huge gas leak in the valley. And SoCal Gas paid Janice's family and other families living in the valley like a stipend to basically live in a hotel or just anywhere they can outside of the valley while they like fix that, right? The gas leak.
Yeah.
And so
Very good memory.
Janice's parents got wait, why don't you explain, Janice? Go ahead.
Well, I'll just explain the situation.
Yes.
But basically we stayed at the Line Hotel in K-Town. And so we were able to commute to CJ very easily because it was just like with traffic, 30-minute drive. So Jess and I, we had a grand old time during that time. Like we were there for a really long time too. We were there since like Thanksgiving to like the next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like we were able to relive kind of like the college days because Jess and I were living together. Because my sister at the time, she was still in she was in college. She had her own dorm. And so Jess stayed with me at the Line Hotel, and it was so much fun.
That was a really unique experience because you had 2 rooms, because technically like you and Eunice were supposed to use one room and then your parents were gonna use the other room, right?
Right.
So at the time too, like I was commuting from Santa Ana, which is really, really far. I was driving like maybe 2.5, 3 hours sometimes with traffic, all the way to Miracle Mile where CJ was. So that was a long drive. And Janice, like that situation literally saved me. Not even the Valley residents. It saved me. Because I got to live with Janice at Line Hotel. And it was like maybe like a 20, 30-minute drive to CJ, really short compared to the drive that I had before.
Yeah.
And we just had a blast there. At that hotel, that's where this date happened. So Josh was like harassing David to please meet Janice, and David was like, okay, fine, dude, just like so that you leave me alone, I'll do it. So they scheduled a date, and that's during the time when we were at the Line Hotel, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember like we were just getting Janice ready, getting all dolled up, and Janice, go ahead, continue.
And yeah, Jess was like, okay, you want to like look pretty, but you don't want to look like you're trying too hard. So let's put a hoodie on you and let's add some makeup on. And like, I don't usually put makeup on like crazy eyeshadow.
Very
or anything,
minimal.
Yeah. And just like, let me help you with the makeup. And I was like, okay. And she did my makeup. She curled my hair a little bit, but like kind of natural look. And so I was off. I went on my date and we went to the Grove actually. And we had some ice cream. It was pretty late though. It was after work. So I was tired. I was excited, but I was more tired. And the date turned out to be really good. Like we had really natural conversations. And I came back and Jess was just like so excited to like hear how the date went.
And like when she came back, I was like, okay, Janice, how'd it go? You know, what'd you guys talk about? And I remember, Jess, I don't know if you remember this, but I kept texting you saying like, hey, take a picture with him. Do you remember that? Like, take a selfie with him.
I do
just
remember
to be
that.
flirty. Just do it. And I think it's because I wanted to like just see like the vibes, and I just wanted to see his face, like how he looked. And I was just so curious. I was like, please, Janice, just take a selfie. Come on, just do it. And you're like, Jess, I'm not gonna do that. And so I'm like waiting back at the hotel, like with so much anticipation. And Janice comes back, and I'm like, so how'd it go, Janice? Like, what happened? What you guys talking about? And Janice, like, she's just like it's like so cool and collected. She's like, I mean, it was cool. He's a good guy. And I'm like, that's it?
It's like, you were obsessed with him. Where did that go?
I was like, what is this confidence? Like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like this, like, this cool attitude.
It's so crazy that we literally saw each other's, like, journeys with our husband.
I know.
And, yeah, at the Line Hotel, so many good memories.
Seriously.
We used to just, like, be freaking, like, have fun with the stupidest things.
Yeah. Like our Wolfpack video.
That video is literally only hilarious to us.
Yeah,
but
no one will get it, but it's funny, and it happened at Line Hotel, and that is a great like symbol of like what the kinds of things we did there.
yeah.
Every time like after work, like especially on a Friday, we would Thursday or Friday after work, we would end at like 6:30 and come around 7. We'd come in, and at the time, like in the lobby area, like it was popping. Like there were people dancing, drinking, and we're just like, whoa, like coming in. Like,
That's when the line was like a club.
Yeah.
The lobby. And it was such a treat coming home to that every day.
But we would never join. We'd be like, yeah. We would just like walk through with our backpacks, like, yeah.
And straight to our room.
And then go to the elevator. Like, all right, let's go up now. We never partook in it, which is crazy.
That's so
I feel
true.
like we should have, but it was a missed opportunity. Yeah, we
didn't
too
take
tired.
advantage of it.
If you guys listen to our past episode, we were pretty exhausted from being desperate interns.
All right, I think it's time for our last segment.
Mhm.
It's going to be nice and short. It's the gang chew.
Gang, chew.
I realized we never really explained what 강추 actually means. It stands for 강력 추천, a strong recommendation.
I thought we did.
I think we did in a past episode that didn't make it. So there you go. It's our strong recommendation. Recommendation.
Gang, chew.
Jess, do you have one?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna recommend a song.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know if you guys know. I'm gonna throw it back a little bit again, but there's a group called Brown Eyed Soul.
Oh my gosh. So good.
They're so good. I mean, just check out their songs in general because they're so good. They're a good group of R&B singers, but it's that Korean R&B soul, you know?
I love it.
But there's a song that they sang that I really, really liked, and all of them. I think the main singer now, he's known to be a really faithful Christian, along with the other members of the group. But they basically got the story of a pastor who was battling cancer, and the lyrics that pastor wrote, and they turned it into a song.
Oh wow! I didn't know. I don't think I know the song.
Yeah, and it's called 폭풍 속의 주.
Oh yes. Can you sing a little bit for us? I did get a comment saying that. Even though you joke around a lot, you're a great singer. Shout out to Grace Cho.
Oh wow!
And she's a singer, so that means a lot.
Wait, me or you?
You. Specifically called out you.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much, Grace. That encouragement.
That boost.
It goes like 소서 만왕의 주 날 이끄소서 폭풍 속에서.
Wow.
It's very gospel, you know, but Korean gospel.
So good.
It's such a good song. You guys have to listen to it.
I thought you were gonna say love ballad.
That one's so good too. Oh my gosh.
It's so good. I actually listened to it recently. That's why I'm like, yeah.
Love ballad and 폭풍 속의 주.
Those are great 강추s.
Thank you.
Gang.
Gang.
Right, so my quick gang chew is make your own kimchi, but be careful when you chop your veggies. I actually highly recommend making your own kimchi because I bought kimchi recently and like it was so weird, but it smelled like chlorine.
Ooh.
And I was like so turned off by it because the whole, like, not just the jar smelled like it, the kimchi itself smelled like Clorox.
Maybe
chlorine.
they like mixed it in like a washed like bin or like bowl.
So I was like so turned off by it, and I was like, I don't know what's going in here. So that's what motivated me to look up Mangchi's kimchi recipe, and it's so good. So I highly recommend making Mangchi's recipe. That's the only recipe I've tried. It's like my second time trying it now, and it's so good, Jess.
Wow!
Like, and it's like 생각보다 it's so much easier than I thought. It's just a lot of chopping, so you just make someone do it, like Josh. and you just put it together, and it's so worth it because you just like, you know what went into it. You made it with your own hands, and it's delicious.
Wow.
So that's my
that's a
gangchu.
great gangchu. Except I feel
Gang,
like
gang.
I'm not gonna take it again. I'm not gonna take your recommendation.
Well, that is understandable because once again, it's a lot of time. You have kids. You have a kid.
Can I try your kimchi though, Janice? Can you give
I
me
will.
a jar?
Yes,
Like a
I
small
will
jar?
give you a jar. Yes,
Thank you.
it's my like joy.
I will say I've been trying to cook more, and yesterday was day one. I made like a chimichurri like steak sandwich in a ciabatta bread. Josh loved it, and that was really great to see. You know that like my hard work, this sandwich made with a lot of love, like was received with so much praise. But I was exhausted by the end of dinner time. And like Josh did all this hargoji, which I really appreciated. But I was like, dude, it's day one and I do not want to do this again. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to keep cooking. And I can't believe you do it every day, like for like 3 meals, Janice. That's crazy.
Well, I have more time than you, so that's why it's doable.
Still, like, props to you, man.
All right, guys. So just a reminder, please make sure to follow us once again on Honey Jam Pod on Instagram. Watch this video on YouTube at Hot It's Janice. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram. Jess one day will share her handles, but not today.
One day. I mean, you put my handle on our Honey Jam Instagram handle, so you exposed me. So if you guys truly want to follow me, I guess look at the Honey Jam handle. Guys, it's not that I like don't want you guys to follow me. It's just I'm a bit shy, a bit private. So, you know, I don't want to, you know, force anyone to follow me. Not that Janice is forcing anybody, but
yeah, what does that make me then? I, on the other hand, am forcing you to follow me. So
guys, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys on our next episode. Bye.
Thank you.